Violence in Mamaroneck.
A terror scare near Mamaroneck High School.
Will there be federal disaster relief for our area?
A new Catholic bishop from Larchmont.
News from our schools.
And a local institution turns 85. Those stories and more right here on this edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
Summer hiatus and ready to get back to work. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News is celebrating 16 years of community service. And now here's Sven. And now here is Sven, Oehme, and Maura Carlin.
Hello and welcome to Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Sven Oehme.
And I'm Maura Carlin. Our top story. On Saturday, September 18th, a quiet Mamaroneck neighborhood erupted in violence, the results of a domestic dispute that left 2 people dead, 1 fighting for her life, and 3 children, the subject of an Amber Alert. At Columbus Park on Van Ranst Place in the village of Mamaroneck, estranged husband and wife Clifford and Michelle Bonner argued. Mrs. Bonner's half-sister sat in the passenger seat of their Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme, while one of the Bonner's children sat in the back. According to the Journal News, witnesses reported that Mr. Bonner threw Mrs. Bonner to the ground and shot her in the head at point-blank range. The other woman came out of the car and Bonner shot her also. They say Bonner grabbed the girl from the car and put her in his minivan with the other Bonner children. Mrs. Bonner was killed and her half-sister is fighting for her life. Village of Mamaroneck police immediately issued an Amber Alert for the children, ages 11, 9, and 7, which was canceled on Sunday, September 19, after the children were found at their paternal grandfather's home in Valhalla, where police say Bonner dropped his children before killing himself behind a deli in Valhalla.
2 weeks ago, horrific odors emanated from the suburban carting facility in the industrial section of Mamaroneck Village. As a consequence, the village has decided to put an end to the operations of the suburban carting transfer station. The company was to be served a notice by the Mamaroneck Village Building Department to shut down the facility last Wednesday by 11:59 p.m. Closing the station was, however, stopped by State Supreme Court Justice John Le Carver. He gave village officials the authority to check on the suburban carting facility on a daily basis to make sure that it was in compliance with the permit issued for operating the station. The attorney for suburban carting, David S. Steinmetz, was quoted in the Journal News saying, quote, "My client is extremely pleased that the court granted our motion and state the enforcement of the village's closure order. Suburban will cooperate fully with all anticipated inspections and looks forward to continuing to provide a critical and valuable service to the numerous customers in Mamaroneck and the surrounding community." End of quote. Mamaroneck Village Attorney Kevin Plunkett told the Journal News, quote, "I'm very pleased by the fact that we have the unfettered right to control and monitor what's going on. This is a message from the village and the court that these types of instances cannot continue." End of quote. State Supreme Court Justice Le Carver has ruled that the village presents the court with papers supporting its position by October 6, and suburban carting has to respond by October 8. The suburban carting transfer station in Mamaroneck has been the object of numerous news reports. The village and also other authorities have charged the company with violations of the permit to operate the station in Mamaroneck Village. A lawsuit against suburban carting is still pending, and we will continue to follow the story that affects many residents in Mamaroneck Village.
There was a terror scare near Mamaroneck High School this past week. With more on the story is Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Jay Fiddelman.
Authorities closed off an area on Boston Post Road this past Tuesday after receiving reports of a suspicious package near Mamaroneck High School. According to police, a neighbor called in a report of a suspiciously dressed man walking through the area. Police say the individual presented questionable identification and had numerous pictures of the interior of a train on his digital camera, which prompted police officials to bring in the Westchester County Counterterrorism Task Force. The man also informed police he had left a package in the parking lot of the village deli. Upon learning of the parcel, The police, along with the Westchester County Bomb Squad, quickly sprung into action. Authorities closed off a 300-square-foot section around the parking lot and warned Mamaroneck High School about the possible threat. The school was put into lockdown, and students were told not to leave their classrooms and to stay away from the windows. The bomb squad later blasted the package with a water cannon, but found only plexiglass, glass, and paper inside. No explosive materials were detected. Police have identified the man who left the package as 50-year-old Prakash Shalat, who is originally from India. Police ran Shalat's identity through the nationwide Department of Homeland Security terrorist database and found that Shalat had a record of prior criminal history in California. However, Shalat was released from police custody later that day without being charged after the police realized there was no bomb in the package. Police say Shalat, who claims to be a scientist, told them the package contained his plans to create the next generation of microwave ovens. That is indeed what it turned out to be. Thankfully, no one was injured. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Jay Fiddelman.
As the community continues to recover from the effects of recent Hurricane Francis, county officials are looking into whether the damage can be considered a national disaster. If successful, Mamaroneck, Rye, and Harrison could join the claim of upstate counties Sullivan and Orange, which are recovering from an August storm, for federal funds. You may recall that Francis stormed into the village of Mamaroneck, dropping more than 6 inches of water. Some roadways were closed and more than 70 homes and businesses were evacuated using rowboats and payloaders. Not to mention flooding many local basements, including the one at the Mamaroneck Village Firehouse. So local officials are calculating the losses, hoping to bring some financial relief to uninsured residents by hoping to declare the area a disaster area. We'll keep you posted.
In a recent weekend edition of the New York Times, a report was included on the proposal by the Mamaroneck Beach and Yacht Club to add additional seasonal housing to the property. Bernard J. Rosenshine, who is the owner of the club, is opposed in his expansion plan by local residents. The village board has imposed a moratorium on issuing a permit for construction in the area. During the moratorium, the zoning in the village's marine recreation district will be reviewed. Beth Hofstetter, the president of the neighboring Shore Acres Property Owners Association, was quoted in the New York Times saying, "This goes to the heart of coastal zone management and the marine recreation zone." Mr. Rosenshine was quoted saying that the requirements have, quote, put the club in a straitjacket. It is very important to realize that what we want to do does not diminish one iota the waterfront uses, end of quote. Is taking the case to court, and the village is appealing the decision by the Supreme Court, which was in favor of Mr. Rosenshine's filing.
The finger-pointing continues in the village of Mamaroneck over contamination of the Sheldrake River. Although the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, or DEC, blames the village's Department of Public Works facility for an oily layer of film in the river, Mayor Phil Trifoletti says a study shows that there was no leak in the village-owned tanks. Ira D. Conklin & Sons, an environmental services and waste handling company engaged by the village, inspected the Department of Public Works facility and concluded there was no leak in the tanks. The DEC still believes the leak came from the village facility, but will look at the village's report on the tank testing. It will also review results of a groundwater investigation report, which would show whether soil near the river contained the same oil as that in the village's tanks. That report is expected in about 2 weeks.
The Metro-North Commuter Railroad released its July 2004 on-time performance figures recently. As in the past, the New Haven line continues to have the worst performance of all the 3 lines that Metro-North operates in Westchester County. All numbers of the New Haven line are below the system-wide average. According to railroad guidelines, a train is on time when it arrives within 5 minutes and 59 seconds off schedule. During the AM period, Metro-North had an on-time performance of the New Haven line of 93.9%. In the PM, it was 96.3%. Off-peak performance is only slightly better. Again, the overall performance of the New Haven line is well below the system-wide average.
It's September, and that means school is back in session. And this year brings many staff and administration additions to the Mamaroneck School District. In fact, 53 new staffers joined our school community, including 4 new administrators. Ann Zimmer is the new Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction. Barry Suman is the new Director of Health, Physical Education, and Athletics. Lori Presti is the new Principal of Central School, and Jeremy Barker became Assistant Principal at the Murray Avenue School.
The unemployment rates in Westchester and Putnam County for August of 2004 remained unchanged compared to the August of 2003. However, the number of jobs in both counties rose. Westchester's unemployment rate stayed at 4.1%, and in Putnam it is 3.4%, while the state rate is 6.7%, which was significantly lower than the rate compiled a year ago. In Westchester County, jobs offered by private companies were up by 4,000, which is a 1.1% increase over the numbers for August 2003. The job increases are most significant in the retail and healthcare sector, while manufacturing jobs declined.
The Larchmont Ambulance Corps is ready to move. Here with the details is Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Christina Bolger.
On October 1st, the 60 members of the Larchmont Volunteer Ambulance Service will be moving into their newly constructed headquarters at 155 Weaver Street. The original headquarters were torn down by town officials in April. Since then, they have been using a Mamaroneck Town firehouse. Lauren Abernathy, a member of the Board of Directors for the ambulance service, told The Times the paramedics who serve the residents of Mamaroneck Town and Larchmont have been wishing for new headquarters for the last 6 years. The new 2-story facility will have 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a large training site, a kitchen, a dining room, and a living room. However, the Larchmont ambulance volunteers needs the public's help. They need to raise $120,000 for a new ambulance by this coming spring. The volunteers respond to over 1,200 calls a year. Area residents can purchase an engraved brick for $250 or $350. The brick will be placed outside the new building in a special path named the Walk of Life, or residents who give a monetary gift of $1,000 or more will have their names etched into the group's Wall of Donors, which will be inside the new building. You can make a donation by contacting the Larchmont Ambulance Volunteers at 834-3344. That number again is 834-3344. They have helped our community by volunteering their services. Now we can help them by making a donation. Reporting for Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Christina Bolger.
A former Village of Larchmont mayor gets tapped by Westchester County. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel has more.
From 1992 to 2002, all of us in Larchmont benefited from having Cheryl Louie as our mayor. Now, County Executive Andy Spano wants us once again to benefit from the experience and knowledge that Cheryl Louie has attained. This time, Miss Louie will be appointed to be the first female to serve as planning chair for the Westchester County's Planning Board. Mr. Spano slated his reasons for his selection, based on her first-hand knowledge of how a municipality works financially, physically, and even politically. Mamaroneck Supervisor Valerie O'Keefe also was heard to say, "I think it's good for us. She understands the Sound Shore." It is important to mention some of the projects the Planning Board has supported. The rejuvenation of the Village of Mamaroneck Business District, the new streetscapes and renovation of the Village of Larchmont's Boston Post Road area, which is set to begin this fall. Ms. Louie is quoted as saying, "While I was mayor of Larchmont, I learned how long it takes to bring a project from gestation to fruition." She went on to say, "I am honored and excited to be selected by the city executive to be selected for this important role. I look forward to working with the other 11 members of the Planning Board and the Planning Department staff so we can continue the strong tradition of regional planning for which the board and the department are well known. My background in municipal government and my involvement in land use issues at the local and regional level have given me an excellent understanding of the local perspective, as well as a broader vision to help guide development of the county in this important time. We at LMC-TV congratulate and support Ms. Cheryl Louie in this endeavor. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Amy Schachtel.
They're raising the roof at Mamaroneck High School. Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna updates us on the construction.
Your school taxes are still at work. The new 3-story wing, which faces Boston Post Road, is scheduled to open September 2005. The new wing will have classrooms on the 1st and 2nd floor. The 3rd floor will have a wonderful new library. Administrative offices will be on the 2nd floor. The old library will have a student and faculty dining room, counselors and extracurricular activity offices. Later, the space between Post and Palmer will be changed to include a music classroom. If you wish to keep up with the school district, go online at www.mamkschools.org. For Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Glenna Gray.
A Larchmont priest is now a bishop. Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Christina Bolger fills us in.
Recently, 54-year-old Father Dennis Sullivan of Saints John and Paul Church in Larchmont became Bishop Sullivan. This ordination ceremony took place in one of the world's famous churches, St. Patrick's Cathedral. Cardinal Edward Egan will be reassigning Sullivan, that is, to a key administrative position for the 10-county Archdiocese of New York. He is expected to be named a Vicar General, a top administrative position. Sullivan came to St. John and Paul Church only last year. However, he has served in other parishes for over 30 years. Many of the Larchmont Church parishioners sat up front to cheer on their pastor and take part in a mass that followed. Approximately 37th and 8th graders from the parish school wore a coat of arms that Sullivan selected as his bishop's symbol, which include his Episcopal motto, "In the breaking of bread." The secretary of the school, Mary Malarzik, and Principal Ann Menno told the Journal News that it was a privilege to be invited. And in addition, their proud students do understand that Sullivan is being elevated to bishop and just what that means. Congratulations to Bishop Sullivan. I'm sure your Larchmont parishioners will miss you. Reporting for Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Christina Bolger.
85 years old and still hot, Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel gives us the lowdown.
Walter Warrington had a great idea 85 years ago. He created a unique style hot dog with an original secret recipe that is now patented. The unusual pagoda-style roadside eatery is world famous today. Walter's has been visited by many celebrities and has been the location for a Dare TV commercial. Not to mention, it's the second home since 1919 to Mamaroneck High School students. Back to the beginning. Walter Warrington had an idea of a different kind of hot dog that wouldn't burn, shrink, or curl. He invented the split dog. The first 9 years, Walter's sold only apple cider and hot dogs at the 2 original locations on Post Road and Richbell Avenue. In 1928, Walter's moved to its now well-known Palmer Avenue site. Yes, the pagoda. Well, Mr. Warrington chose this unusual design to attract attention. We know now that the architecture only adds to the terrific hot dogs and fries they sell. In 1983, Walter's was declared a historical landmark by the Tricentennial Commission of Westchester. While waiting on the famous line, I'm sure you've noticed and read some of the many postcards sent to Walter's from loyal customers worldwide. One was just recently received from an American Marine in Iraq. Here at LMC, our weekly newscast always asks for volunteers. We give a time to meet and directions to our studio that read, "We are in the Mamaroneck High School, the Palmer Avenue side, just up the stairs from the landmark Walter's hot dog stand. So grab a dog and come give us a visit." For LMC News, I'm Amy Schachtel.
Ever wonder where Mamaroneck High School graduates go to college? Glenna has a look at the class of 2004.
Best wishes to our 2004 graduates. The graduates have enrolled throughout America and 3 have gone to Europe to continue their education. The lion's share of our graduates have enrolled in the SUNY system. There were 27 of them. CUNY, New York City University, enrolled 5 Mamaroneck graduates. We wish everyone success and good health. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Glenna Gray.
And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. But you know, before we go, we should mention we have a new member of our staff. Anchor Alicia Myro had a baby girl, Eliana, and she was in our studios, as you can see. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, this is really good news. And as we had to start the news show with some bad news, it's nice to end with these great pictures. If you want to see this news show again, you can. It's on every weekday night at 7 p.m. We record one show each week, and it's replayed on this channel, LMC-TV, channel 75.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can. Call LMC-TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the news show. They'll try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you to watch.
And this reminder, this news program is an all-volunteer effort, and we could use a few more volunteers either behind the scenes or as a reporter. Or maybe you'd like to shoot video. Whatever the case, we need you.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put this program on, we have something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC-TV studios and see how we do what we do.
The LMC-TV studios are in the Mamaroneck High School, the Palmer Avenue side, just up the stairs across from the landmark Walter's hot dog stand. And we get things started around 7 p.m. and we would love to see you.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions or some video of an event that you'd like us to put on the news show, bring it to the studio or write to us at Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News in care of LMC-TV, 1 Library Lane, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543.
Thanks again for watching Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
See you next week. More on the violence in Mamaroneck.
Arrests made in a local robbery.
News for Metro North commuters.
Updates on local police departments.
And a new treasurer for Larchmont Village. Those stories and more right here on this edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
Hello and welcome to Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Sven Oehme.
And I'm Maura Carlin. Our top story. Police have arrested 2 of 4 suspects in last June's armed robbery of the Trader Joe's store on Boston Post Road in Mamaroneck. 2 Bronx men, Carlos Cintron, who's 23 years old, and Luis Torres, who's 19 years old, are charged with first-degree robbery. As you may recall, on June 12th of this year, at about midnight, when Trader Joe's employees were cleaning up and shutting down the store, 4 men with 2 guns pushed into the back of the store as the manager was locking the front door. The manager ran out and called police, but in the meantime, the thieves tried to get into the store safe. When they couldn't, they took employees' wallets and money from the cash registers. Town of Mamaroneck police, working with Trader Joe's corporate management, went through thousands of job applicants under the theory that the criminals knew how the store worked and its layout. And that worked. Suspect Torres worked briefly in the Mamaroneck store. Police believe Torres recruited Cintron and 2 others, who police are confident will be nabbed soon. Torres was wanted in South Carolina on charges of stealing $8,000 and a handgun. Cintron has no prior record. The men were arraigned and charged with Class B felony robbery in the first degree and are in Westchester County Jail without bail.
Mamaroneck Mayor Philip Trifaletti recently held a news conference in the village where he gave an 18-page statement dealing with the issues that had been brought up by members of the police department in response to disciplinary charges based on alleged misconduct within the police department. According to the village, a group of officers is seeking financial compensation. They have sued the village of Mamaroneck and also Police Chief Edward Flynn. Over the last couple of months, hearings took place that have been concluded. According to Village Mayor Trifaletti, the cost for those hearings so far have been about $225,000. The village assumes that the costs will go up to about $300,000. Those expenses are apparently covered to a large extent by insurance that the village has. During the news conference, Mayor Trifaletti made it clear several times that from the village's point of view, there was no corruption, no public scandal, and no cover-up in connection with this case.
We told you last week about the murder-suicide that took the lives of estranged husband and wife Clifford and Michelle Bonner and caused an Amber Alert to be issued for the Bonner children. Sadly, the third person shot by Mr. Bonner, Mrs. Bonner's half-sister Candace Rampersad, has now died from her injuries. She had been shot in the face by Mr. Bonner and was brain dead and had been surviving on life support. Reports are that the families of Mrs. Bonner and Ms. Rampersad are not only grief-stricken, but angry, believing that the murders could have been prevented. According to the Journal News, Mrs. Bonner had called the Westchester County Probation Department on July 7 to report that Mr. Bonner had guns and had threatened to kill her. Bonner was on probation stemming from a conviction for road rage. At the time of Mrs. Bonner's call, Bonner was sought by the Yonkers police for setting fire to the couple's Yonkers apartment after Mrs. Bonner and the children moved out. A warrant for violation of probation was not sought until September 1st and issued on September 9th and did not mention threats of violence. Officials say this warrant was only secondary as Bonner was already sought by Yonkers police, but officials are conducting a review of how warrants are processed in the 9th Judicial District Courts.
The Larchmont Police Benevolent Association is currently in discussions with the Larchmont Village about the contract for the police department, detectives. According to the PBA, the detectives in Larchmont receive the lowest pay out of 22 villages in the county and also have health and retirement benefits that are out of line compared with other police departments in Westchester County. The PBA sent its proposal to the village board in early June. By the middle of September, it had not received a response from the village board yet. Officer Mike Ward, who is the president of the Larchmont Police Benevolent Association, told the Larchmont Ledger, quote, "At the beginning of June, we gave the village our demands that we felt reasonable and fair and were met with resistance. Mayor Bialo responded to the demands by the PBA, quote, "My job as mayor and trustee is to do the best we can to balance the interests, both short-term and long-term. On the one hand for our people and on the other hand for our police officers. No one can be 100% happy, everyone has to give a little," end of quote. Both sides seem to be interested in coming to an amicable and acceptable settlement of all the pending issues.
The commuter tax may be coming back. New York City still wants it, and it could help fund the Metropolitan Transportation Authority's plans to rebuild and expand the transit system. The MTA board recently adopted a spending plan of $27 billion over the next 5 years, with a built-in shortfall of $11.3 billion. The plan will now be sent to Albany, where the governor and state legislature will review it and suggest funding methods. Now, talk of reinstatement of a commuter tax for people who work in the city but live outside it began with the abstention of the MTA board members who represent New York City on the grounds that there was no definite funding source. Last year, New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg was unsuccessful in convincing the state to reintroduce the commuter tax, but both the New York City Council and the mayor are still asking for it. We'll keep you posted.
This has not been a good year for Metro-North Railroad. First, bad winter weather interrupted schedules in January and February. Then during the period of time, lots of people faced long delays or had to stand in overcrowded or unheated trains. When Metro-North conducted a survey of the satisfaction of commuters on the railroad in May, people had not really forgotten about the discomforts of the winter, and the overall results are really not very good. Compared to the survey taken in the fall of 2003, the overall satisfaction declined by 2 percentage points to 91%. Metro North has published a list of the top 10 rider complaints. Less than 50% of commuters are satisfied with the condition of bathrooms on the trains. Only 77% are satisfied with the train car cleanliness. 79% are satisfied with the condition of seats on the trains. Also 79% are satisfied with the condition of train windows. It's not a surprise that commuters on the New Haven line are less satisfied than the ones on the Harlem and Hudson lines. On those lines, Metro North users are seeing 180 new railroad cars that will be in place by the end of the year. On the New Haven line, people will have to continue to ride in the old cars that are owned by the state of Connecticut. Connecticut decided to delay buying new cars, while Metro North is also trying to assist in securing the financing for the new trains. It will take a couple of years before new trains are going to be in place on the New Haven line.
If your health insurance is through United Healthcare, you might want to think again about going to Sound Shore Medical Center. The New Rochelle Medical Center, used by many Sound Shore residents, is one of 5 Westchester hospitals canceling their contracts with United Healthcare on the grounds that they say United's unwilling to pay rates that compare with those paid by other insurance carriers. Now, if you're already undergoing treatment there will be a grace period, and as we find out more, we'll let you know.
An upgrade is coming for the Sheldrake River corridor. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Mike Witch has the story.
The town of Mamaroneck will partner with Westchester County to restore the Sheldrake River corridor. That includes Gardens Lake, better known as the Duck Pond, as well as Dickerman's Pond and Carpenter's Pond in New Rochelle. Town Administrator Steve Altieri described this as a much-needed project that will include bank stabilization, pond restoration, installation of sediment control structures, and dredging to increase the pond and lake storage volume. Members of the Larchmont Gardens Civic Association have lobbied for some time for the dredging of Gardens Lake. Funds for the project will come from a $1 million grant from New York State, from a Westchester County subsidy, and from the City of New Rochelle and the town of Mamaroneck. The town's portion will be about $200,000, payable to the county next June. The work will be done during the next 2 years. This project is in addition to a separate program to construct a sedimentation basin at the Duck Pond. The town board approved the basin project in the spring, and Westchester County is assuming all construction costs. Work on this smaller project is slated to begin this first week of October. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Mike Witch.
Village of Larchmont loses one treasurer and gains a new treasurer. With more is Larchmont Community News reporter Christina Bolger.
After 33 years of service, Treasurer Carmine DeLuca is retiring from most of his positions with the Village of Larchmont and Town of Mamaroneck. Recently, the Larchmont Board of Trustees gave him gifts and shared their well wishes. DeLuca has been the Town Director of Finance and Comptroller for 31 years, and he has overseen finances for the Cable Board of Control for 22 years. He has also served with 7 mayors. Former Larchmont Mayor Cheryl Louie told the Larchmont Gazette reporter Judy Silverstein, quote, "Mayors knew they could sleep at night because Carmine was on the job," end quote. Mayor Ken Bialo proclaimed it Carmine DeLuca Day in the Larchmont Village and admitted that after working 14 years with DeLuca, it will be a personal loss for him. Although DeLuca is retiring, he will be retaining his position as treasurer for the Joint Sanitation Commission. Dennis J. Bruciani, the Village of Mamaroneck's treasurer, has been hired for both the town and village financial positions. He began on October 1st after DeLuca stepped down. I'm sure Mr. DeLuca will enjoy his retirement. However, he will be missed by all who served with him. Reporting for Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Christina Bolger.
And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
If you want to see this news show again, you can. It's on every weekday night at 7 p.m. We record one show each week, and it's replayed on this channel, LMC-TV channel 75.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can. Call LMC-TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the news show. They'll try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you to watch.
And this reminder, this news program is an all-volunteer effort, and we could use a few more volunteers, either behind the scenes or as a reporter, or maybe you'd like to shoot video. Whatever the case, we need you.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put this program on, we have something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC-TV studios and see how we do what we do.
The LMC-TV studios are in the Mamaroneck High School, the Palmer Avenue side, just up the stairs across from the landmark Walter's hot dog stand. We get things started around 7 p.m. and we would love to see you.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions or some video of an event that you'd like us to put on this news show, bring it to the studio or write to us at Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News in care of LMC-TV, 1 Library Lane, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543.
Thanks again for watching Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Sven.
And I'm Maura Carlin. We'll see you next week. More to the state, less to locals. We'll tell you where traffic fine collections are going.
Corporation pays for old oil spill.
School board campaign finance reform.
Step into the real estate corner.
And the pumpkins are coming. Those stories and more right here on this edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
Hello and welcome to Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Sven Oehme.
And I'm Maura Carlin. Our top story. If you're upset about paying a traffic fine, you probably don't think about where the money is going, but local officials do, and say a minor change in wording is taking money right out of our municipality coffers. The New York State budget, which passed this August, included an amendment to the state vehicle and traffic law mandating that revenues from specified traffic violations, mostly speeding, be distributed according to the violation with which the individual was originally charged. What often happens is that defendants plead to lesser charges, and under the old law, the local municipality got the revenue. Now, though, it will go to the state. Governor Pataki sought the change because in most instances, traffic violations are written by state police officers, and this money would help fund state law enforcement. The state expects municipalities statewide to lose about $22 million. Now, in our area, Mamaroneck Town Supervisor Valerie O'Keefe was quoted in the New York Times expressing concern that taxpayers will have to take up the slack and that although the actual dollar amount expected to be lost by the town, a little more than $9,000, is not tremendous, there would be an impact on services and that, quote, if this is a harbinger of things to come, this is a bad sign, end quote. Governor Pataki does not oppose municipalities getting the fine money if the revenue to the state could be made up another way. Under the state law, municipalities may try to make up the shortfall by imposing an additional surcharge when a mandatory surcharge is already in effect. But first, the municipality must pass a law to impose the surcharge, and that surcharge would only be effective for 1 year. An effort is underway in the state legislature to change the new wording, and we'll keep you posted.
In 1988, 2 homeowners in Mamaroneck discovered that gasoline had leaked into their backyard. An investigation determined that about 2 blocks of land behind the mobile gas station located on the corner of Boston Post Road and South Barry Avenue were contaminated. ExxonMobil has now paid $3,065,000 to New York State. This is for a reimbursement for cleanup costs of $2.9 million plus interest and a $250,000 penalty. Initially, the company had denied that the gas had leaked from the Mobil station. Last December, Mobil finally accepted liability and settled with the state. As part of the settlement, Mobil has agreed to finish the cleanup work in cooperation with the Department of Environmental Conservation. In case Mobil does not honor this part of the settlement agreement, it will pay the state an additional $300,000.
Campaign finance reporting comes to local school board elections. Governor Pataki recently signed into law a requirement that school board candidates file written statements disclosing campaign contributions and loans in excess of $500. Previously, candidates needed to disclose only how much they spent. Now, statements of contributions and expenditures would be due 10 days before and 20 days after an election. The new law was proposed by an upstate assemblywoman after candidates in Utica spent over $30,000 without the public knowing the source of the funds.
In a recent Westchester, in the section of the Sunday New York Times, a story focused on the homes of diplomats in Westchester County. Some communities complain that in some cases, the homes and the yards are not maintained and the whole property is in disrepair. The New York Times talked to Mamaroneck Town Supervisor Valerie Moore Keefe, who told the newspaper, quote, "The poorer the country, the more fancy the home," end of quote. In the town, there are 4 diplomatic homes and none of the homes pay property taxes. One of those homes is owned by the Republic of Namibia. It would generate $43,000 for the town in case the property taxpayer would live there. Another home is located on Premium Point, and that property would pay $220,000 per year into the town's bank account. Again, Valerie Moore Keefe has said that the 4 properties owned by foreign countries in Mamaroneck pay the county sewer service fee, which they have to pay under the law. There's no default as far as those payments are concerned.
Questions over the village of Mamaroneck's handling of the police disputes continue, and now are a focus of the Democratic candidates for village trustee. Challengers for 3 trustee seats, Tom Murphy, Elsa Puerto Rubin, and Guy Zarega, accuse the current village board, all Republicans, of mishandling the issues at the police department that include disciplinary charges against 5 officers and 3 sergeants, 4 of whom are still suspended indefinitely, and the multiple lawsuits involving allegations of police corruption. All of the candidates recently attended a meeting of the editorial board of the Journal News, where the Democratic candidates said that village trustees, who also serve as police commissioners, should have prevented the situation from going this far, and also call for an independent investigation into the allegations of police corruption and the village's handling of it. Current trustees, Joseph Angeletta, Tony Voza, and Christy McAvoy-Derrico, defended the village's actions, saying they tried to convince the officers not to sue and that village council advised against an independent investigation. Trustee Voza is quoted in the Journal News as saying he still opposes an independent investigation and, I quote, "am done spending money," end quote. Mayor Trifoletti recently said that legal fees thus far have been about $225,000. Now, we hope to bring you more information from the candidates themselves.
You may remember that 5 years ago, huge numbers of lobsters were killed in Long Island Sound. Sound lobstermen filed a federal lawsuit that blames pesticide companies for the large number of dead lobsters. According to an attorney for the lobstermen, 2 of such pesticide-producing companies are in the process of settling with the lobster fishermen. According to the attorney, there is pretty clear evidence that puts the blame on a pesticide called malathion. This pesticide was used to spray Long Island community sites to kill off West Nile virus carrying mosquitoes. The pesticide eventually was washed into Long Island Sound by Hurricane Floyd that year. Since 5 years ago, the lobster population has increased again. However, it is not back to the numbers that were seen before the pesticides were spilled into Long Island Sound. Fishermen still complain that they cannot really survive on only catching lobsters in the Sound. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Christina Bolger meets the new treasurer for the village of Larchmont and the town of Mamaroneck.
The town of Mamaroneck, you're the new village financial officer, and also for the village of Larchmont.
That's correct. That's correct.
And so, comptroller for town of Mamaroneck, treasurer for, That's a lot of work.
Yes, it is.
And also, you have another responsibility. You're the treasurer for Larchmont Mamaroneck.
Cable TV, the tri-municipal cable television.
Now, how many hours a day do you think you'll be working?
Well, pretty much throughout my career, I'm used to working about an average of 10 hours a day. So 10, maybe it'd be 12, possibly occasional weekends.
That's a lot, and probably some
That's what my wife says.
Weekends, yeah. Now, you started on October 1st.
That's correct.
And you had some pretty big fills to shoe. Did I say fills to shoe?
Bills to shoe.
That's my way of saying shoes to fill. Anyway, now, Carmine DeLuca, he was in that position for how many years?
Approximately 33, 34 years.
And do you hope to be in that position for
I
that
hope to
many
be there
years?
for that many years.
Now,
Maybe not quite that many, but I'd say we're looking at about 20 years at this point.
let's hope so.
Let's hope so.
Now, your salary will be paid by, how much percent will be paid by the town of Mamaroneck, and how much will be paid by the village of?
60% by the town of Mamaroneck, 40% by the village of Larchmont.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about your prior experience.
Prior to coming to these two entities, for the last 7 months, I was the clerk treasurer for the village of Mamaroneck. Prior to that, I was the accountant office manager for the Westchester Joint Waterworks. And prior to that, I enjoyed many years of treasury experience, one notable company, Rayonier, which relocated its corporate headquarters down to Jacksonville, Florida, and unfortunately that ended my employment with them. My wife wouldn't move.
Oh, well, anyway, you're here with us now.
I'm here with very comfortable as well.
Everything happens for a reason.
That's what my wife says.
Okay, well, your wife is right. Now, tell us about your future plans in your new position. What would you like to see happen?
I'd just like to see an enhancement in security and also an enhancement in technology in the government workplace.
And by enhancing the technology, what do you think, how do you think that will help the municipalities?
Well, pretty much by automating a lot in various processes to make jobs easier, to make them more efficient, more streamlined. I mean, that's the way to go. And what that enables one to do is it just breeds new ideas and gives people the opportunity to bring new ideas to fruition. When people are constantly hustling and they really have very little time to think, very little time because of a lack of streamlining of their processes and their job functions and tasks, it just doesn't leave much room for enhancement.
Right, in this way things will run more efficiently.
I believe so.
Which we need.
I believe so.
And now, some people may be wondering if there will be a conflict of interest where you'll be working for two different municipalities. But there's a budget in place.
There's a budget in place in each municipality, as well as cable TV, and it's overseen by more than just me. Especially in the town, the budget is real. The budget officer there is the town administrator, that's Steve Altieri. So, I'll be working very closely with Steve and putting together the town's budget. And I'll be working somewhat independently in the village of Larchmont. However, I'll be overseen there by both the board and the mayor.
Well, you have a lot of responsibilities ahead of you. We'd like to thank you for coming in, and congratulations on your new position.
Hey, Christina, thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Here with news from the underground, sewers that is Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Mike Witch.
Mamaroneck Village will soon begin a unique mapping project of its sewer system. As reported in the Times, a computerized mapping system called GIS will record data and plot the physical features of an area. It's expected to help officials get a better understanding of what the sewer pipes and storm drains look like and how they're interconnected. Mayor Trifoletti explains that the village aims to become more proactive instead of reactive, finding problem areas first and fixing them. And the problems are not just because the system is old. It's also because the original pipes designed to carry away household and industrial waste and a separate set of pipes to handle rainwater from street drains have been interconnected in some places through many years of development in the village. Consultants studied the village sewer system, analyzing the maps and sewer lines and repair records to get a better understanding of pollution problems that have plagued the village. Last December, the consultants issued a report calling for the GIS mapping, as well as improvements in the Department of Public Works, record keeping, and capital planning. DPW now has a new software program that's improved their operations. The report also recommends that the public be made aware of problems caused by such everyday bad habits as, well, pouring bacon grease down the drain. Better put it in the trash can. Since last year, when a water quality committee sounded the alarm, village workers have already repaired 7,600 feet of sewer pipe, according to Robert Yarmiter, assistant village manager. He says the village will spend $285,000 next year on sewer repairs. State grants will cover some of the cost. The village is looking for additional funds to complete the work. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Mike Witch.
Now with a look at the above ground, Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna Gray brings us the Real Estate Corner.
Welcome to the Real Estate Corner. Let's take a look at what the presidential candidates have to say about land in our nation. Senator Kerry and President Bush are both believers of private property rights, and they both adhere to the idea of state and local governments having control over their land issues. Senator Kerry wants to use federal money to assist mass transportation and housing. President Bush wants to help close the commuting gap in order to assist workers who travel far from their jobs in order to find affordable housing. President Bush wants to see single-family housing tax credits passed to help with starter homes. Kerry wants to give the buyers help by expanding FHA loans. Bush wants to maintain the home ownership growth through the American Dream Down Payment Fund, which assists with down payments, closing costs, and repairs. Kerry believes you can keep interest rates low by restoring fiscal discipline within the government. Through federal loans, Kerry would like to create low down payment programs for civil servants such as teachers, firefighters, police officers, and others. Both candidates believe the laws of eminent domain should remain in the hands of local authorities. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Glenna Gray.
To go or not to go? That will be the question after Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Brad Martz fills us in on the LMC-TV event honoring Dee O'Brien.
LMC-TV will honor Homick's Middle School English teacher Dee O'Brien, founder of the Student Semi-Royal Shakespeare Company, during LMC-TV's 7th Annual Sunny Award Dinner at 4 p.m. on Sunday, November 14th at Whitby Castle in Rye. Miss O'Brien's Semi-Royal Shakespeare Company has performed the plays of Shakespeare with Homick's and high school students for 31 years, and since 1985, these plays have been aired on LMC-TV, making the annual Shakespearean productions the longest-running continuous show on LMC-TV's local channels. Miss O'Brien's ability to create interesting and humorous productions have helped to introduce over 3,000 Larchmont and Mamaroneck students to the works of Shakespeare. Each year, multiple performances of 2 plays are staged with separate casts at the Emmeline Theater in Mamaroneck. For 31 years, these performances have taken place because of the efforts of Miss O'Brien and with the help and support of the parents. Today, the Semi-Royal Shakespeare Company is the longest-running high school troupe in the country. The Sunny Award, named after former LMC-TV board president Sonny Goldberg, is awarded to individuals in recognition for their dedication and their outstanding contribution to our community. Previous winners have included Congresswoman Nita Lowy, Mamaroneck School Board Chairperson Barbara Bennett-Rones, Rabbi Jeffrey Serkman, and Reverend William Crawford. For further information or to inquire about tickets to the dinner, $75 for adults, $40 for students, call LMC-TV board member Janet Baer at 914-833-3695, or you can call LMC-TV at 914-381-2002, extension 201. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Bradley Martz.
Buy a pumpkin and help a good cause. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Christina Bolger tells us how to do both.
Welcome, Lisa Catucci. You are on the board of directors with the Mamaroneck Community Nursery School.
That's right.
And you're in charge of fundraising there, I take it. Now, there's this is the 4th annual community pumpkin patch.
Right.
It sounds very exciting. It started October 2nd.
Right, that was the unloading.
Okay.
of the pumpkins. I didn't participate in that. I was involved in the lollipop fair over at the
Right.
nursery school, but others did unload
Okay.
pumpkins.
And it's going through till Halloween,
Exactly.
correct?
And you can't miss it. You drive by Boston Post Road, Mount Pleasant Avenue, and you'll see it.
It's at St. Thomas Church?
Episcopal
Church,
right.
okay. Now, tell me about how the proceeds are going to be divided. It's not just Mamaroneck Nursery School, it's also St. Thomas
Right.
Episcopal Church.
French American School also,
Okay,
and also the Navajo Indians who planted pumpkins and transported them over to us. Yeah, we all partner together, and we'll get a share of the profits.
that's great.
And those profits will go to, I know our school, grants, scholarships, projects, improvements to the school, and I think the same with the other schools.
Okay. And also it's in participation with the Women's Club of Mamaroneck also.
Right, they're participating
Correct.
also, right.
Now, of course, there's pumpkins and there's hay. I hear it's on a hill. It's you can't miss it if you're driving down Boston Post Road.
You cannot miss it.
Okay. And there's also some gourds. And what are the price ranges for the gourds and the pumpkins?
We start from, you can get little ones for $1, then $2, you know, it goes up. We have one this big.
Wow.
$25, $50. I don't know, I haven't seen $50 ones yet, but
But you have some
all
huge
different
ones
sizes
as
all
well.
yes, all different sizes.
Now, it's not just pumpkins and gourds and hay. What else? What other events are
Well, we
taking
have
place?
crafts and activities. The children can make little bookmarks with felt and paint pumpkins. They can frost cupcakes.
Wow.
Yeah, and families can take photographs of their children. It's a real event. You can stay for as long as you like, and the children can take the wagons and transport the pumpkins. And you know, there's a lot of things to do actually. And I know my children just love it, and children just do love it.
Now, wagons. Do you have like wheelbarrows or what kind of?
We have a wheelbarrow. I know my children were dumping and undumping the hay back and forth, but we have a few wheelbarrows, wagons to transport the different pumpkins back and forth. And we also have baked goods, especially on the weekends. Muffins, cupcakes, cakes, pies. Last year I bought a lot, froze a lot of it.
So there's a lot of those for sale as well.
Yeah, a lot. Delicious.
Now, are those available during the week as well, or just?
Yeah, we
on the
put out a
weekends?
few, but predominantly we find that people on the weekends buy them, so
You probably
that's
have
when we
a
focus.
bigger crowd on weekends.
Right.
Where people are to work and.
But we are there all week long.
All week
month long.
And you start at 10 in the morning. Until
That's during the week.
Until 5:30
5:30,
p.m.
6 o'clock.
Okay.
And then on the weekends,
It's at
11 o'clock.
You
till
start at 11?
Same thing, 5:30.
5:36. Okay. Sounds like a lot of fun. Now.
Very fun.
Also, some of the proceeds are going to the Navajo Indians. That's interesting.
Right, and it's a very worthy cause. Forgotten people. I don't know what else to say, but they do plant. You know, they plant these pumpkins, and as I said, they drive the truck across. And you know, I had word the truck's almost here with the pumpkins, and then it arrived October 2nd, and they unloaded, and that's it.
Okay. Oh, if people want to buy some hay.
Yep, you can find.
They can go to
whatever's
the
not
pumpkin
held
patch.
down, I guess. But
Okay,
yes, hay.
that's great. Now, if anyone has some questions, they can call St. Thomas Church at 698-0300.
And they could ask for Dave Curry. He'll be
Ask
happy
for
to
Dave
answer any
Curry.
questions.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming in, Lisa.
Thank you so
and,
much.
Congratulations and good luck.
Thanks a lot.
Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna Gray educates us on what's up in our schools.
In their continuing effort to maintain the standards of the Mamaroneck educational system, the school board has hired Ms. Annie Zimmer of New York City. Ms. Zimmer's title will be Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction. Ms. Zimmer comes to Mamaroneck with over a decade and a half of experience in the field of education. The term differentiated instruction and its concept will be used during the current school year. This concept calls for the teacher to recognize what is the best approach for his or her students. To learn, considering the Mamaroneck students have a wide range of interests, knowledge, abilities, and talents, this stressed methodology of differentiated instruction should prove valuable for the students. If the consistency of practice is maintained, as Ms. Zimmer believes it must be,
And just a reminder, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month and October 15th is National Mammogram Day. Encourage any woman over 40 who has not had a mammogram to get one. The Westchester County Health Department has a breast health program aimed at helping low-income women detect breast cancer in the early stages when it's most curable. For more information on this program, including free mammograms and breast exams, you can call the county program at 914-813-5260.
Want to share your experience with students? Here's your chance. On February 11, 2005, Homeworks Middle School will hold its annual Real Schoolwork Day. This special morning is designed to give students an appreciation of how the work they do in school relates to a wide range of real jobs. This year's program highlights the career fields of the creative arts, public sector and not-for-profit, science and technology, including medicine and computers, and small business and entrepreneurs. So if you're in or were in one of these fields and want to share your knowledge with middle schoolers, they need you. If you're interested, please contact the Homeworks principal, Dr. Tess Weitzman, by email at weitzman@mamkschool.org.
Sal's Pizzeria in Mamaroneck Village turned 40 last month. Founder and owner Salvatore DeRose received a mayoral proclamation at the September 27th Village Board meeting. Now we add our happy birthday congratulations to everyone at Sal's. Imagine a large pie, extra cheese, pepperoni, and 40 candles, of course. And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
If you want to see this news show again, you can. It's on every weekday night at 7 p.m. We record one show each week, and it's replayed on this channel, LMC-TV, channel 75.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can. Call LMC-TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the news show. They'll try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you to watch.
And this reminder, this news program is an all-volunteer effort, and we could use a few more volunteers either behind the scenes or as a reporter, or maybe you'd like to shoot video. Whatever the case, we need you.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put this program on, we have something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC-TV studios and see how we do what we do.
The LMC-TV studios are in the Mamaroneck High School, the Palmer Avenue side, just up the stairs across from the landmark Walter's hot dog stand. We get things started around 7 p.m. and we would love to see you.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions or some video of an event that you'd like us to put on this news show, bring it to the studio or write to us at Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News in care of LMC-TV, 1 Library Lane, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543.
Thanks again for watching Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Sven Oehme.
And I'm Laura Carlin.
Hello, and welcome to a special election edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Christina Bolger.
And I'm Glenna Gray. Do you know what's happening in November? It's election time again.
That's right, Glenna. On November 2nd, Americans all over the country are going to the polls to exercise their right to vote. Tonight on Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, we are going to give you a close-up and personal look at your local candidates who are running for the Village of Mamaroneck.
It is the job of every journalist to inform the public about what is going on in our communities. so the public can go to the polls and make an educated decision when they vote.
And with that said, let's go meet the candidates. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. And again, we're also getting reacquainted. I interviewed you a couple years ago when you were running for trustee.
Yes. Well, first of all, it's just Christy, but that's okay. I always have to make that correction because my entire life I've been called Christine. It's really just Christy.
You know, with me, people have called, my name is Christina. People will call me Christine, and it's like, it's Christina. There is an A on the end of that. So I know.
There you go. But a little bit about myself.
Yes.
I'm an attorney.
Here in Mamaroneck?
Yes, I have a local practice. I've been in business for myself since '97, but I moved my practice out of the home, last year, about April. Maybe it's 2 years ago, I forget, somewhere around there. But I stayed in the home to take care of my 3 children for a number of years.
How old are they?
12, 6, and 3.5.
Wow.
3.5 going on 16. So, and with 3 girls, they really rule the house. But it's a lot of fun.
Be.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
women should
Girl
rule. Yeah.
power.
Yeah,
They really,
absolutely.
They know, a lot of fights over clothes and things like that, but it's really great. So I like to work locally so I can be involved in their lives and to continue my professional life and things of that nature. And otherwise, I've been involved in the Women's Bar Association, where I chair the Lawyering and Parenting Committee with another mother who I'm friendly with, and we do programs for mothers who would like to continue being professionals as well, and that's a lot of fun. But locally, I've been very active in my capacity as trustee. I've been the liaison to Coastal Zone Management, the Long Island Sound Water, Intermunicipal Water Commission, LISWIC. Also, I have been the liaison to the Mayor's Water Quality Committee. And that really, I've really been working very closely with the Water Quality Committee because they were set up to analyze the water problem in the village, possibly rely upon experts, and they came to some conclusions as to why we were having such high numbers of coliform and fecal coliform in the water, and they set out a plan to get those numbers lower and fix the problem. And it's been my mission to implement that plan. I believe in it. I think it's
environmentally, you've been very passionate about getting these things
I have been. And my feeling is when the waters are clean and beautiful and the village looks good, it's great for the health, financial, emotional health of the village. And for example, our beach was open this summer. We had really high attendance. We had 9,200 people there over the course of the whole summer, which is multiples higher than other years. And what that means is revenue and presence in the village that wasn't there before. It's vivacious, alive, yes, going to the beach, and that's exactly what we want. We want people to be down at the water and enjoying what they should be enjoying. We are a coastal community. On top of that, one of the first things I set out to do when I entered office was to apply for grants. Grants, it's like molasses. You can apply for something and 2 years later you get approval. So it's really important that you keep a continuous stream of grant applications. I applied for 3 grants, and one we did not get, but one we did for $50,000, and one is still pending. That's really a fantastic achievement, and I think it's wonderful for the village. As far as the grant that we did receive, this will be a future project. We're still waiting for the paperwork. We got the formal approval, but it takes a couple months to get the paperwork. But it will allow us to update our laws, update the LWRP, which is the Local Waterfront Revitalization Plan, and to possibly implement some storm separators, which I think the village can use. It's wonderful.
I was just going to ask you, why should people vote for you? But it sounds like that you just mentioned one of the reasons why someone should vote for you.
Well, one thing I really would like to embark upon, or finish rather, if I were to be elected to office, is to work on this plan to revamp our laws. It's not an easy process. I mean, we recently approved the overcrowding law. It took a year. So it's something that will take time, but I'd like to tackle that. And we've also just created this new committee, which is Coastal Zone Management and our Harbor Commission. And it's a really strong committee, and we have some great people on it, June Ottinger, Martha McCarty, several other wonderful people. And I really look forward to working with them and taking care of the water issues with that committee.
And one last question. What are you most proud of in the past 2 years? What are you most proudest of?
I'm proud of getting things done. It's not easy to get things done in government for all sorts of reasons. Municipal government can work slowly, and I feel that I applied for grants. I got money. I worked with our attorneys to draft laws on stormwater hookups. We passed the laws. I could go on, but
you're proud of accomplishing what you set out to.
The ideas that I think will help
Right.
the village move forward and are in the best interest of the village.
Well, thank you, Christy, and good luck.
Thank you so much. It's good to see you again.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Glenna.
How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
I have this pamphlet. What would a balanced and responsible trustee look like?
It would look kind of like this, Glenna. But what we were talking about is we were talking about having balance on the board in terms of geographically where everybody from the village comes from, so that every part of the village is represented, and also politically that all different opinions and views are represented on the board.
And you live in the village
I
of...
live in the village of Mamaroneck.
Mamaroneck.
I live in Heathcote Hill. I live on Prospect Avenue.
And you married, children?
Yes, ma'am. I'm married. My wife's name is Leah, and we have 3 children, a daughter who's 12, a son who's 9, and another son who's 3.
So they're all in the school system?
So, yeah, well, the youngest guy is in the Mamaroneck Community Days nursery school.
Oh, baby.
He's a baby, yeah, he's a baby.
All right, so what issues do you see that are of importance to the village?
Well, there are many, but I'd like to just bring up something that's happened in the past 24 hours. In the past 24 hours, my opponents in this election, the Republican candidates, have written a letter to the editor of the various media outlets around. And what they said in the letter to the editor, they alleged that I had been in contact with police officers, and I had met with police officers since I've been a candidate for office who were suing the village, and they alleged that I had met with the lawyer who represents these police officers who are suing the village. And I just want to address that issue because it is categorically untrue. And I think, you know, politics in the village of Mamaroneck, as far as this issue is concerned, has sunken to a new low. You know, I believe this is done with malicious intent and an utter disregard for the truth. You know, we had a debate on Tuesday, and if there were issues and questions about me, they had ample opportunity to ask. And they chose not to ask where I could answer in a public forum, but to write a letter to the editor after all the public debate had ended. And I just want to state categorically that there is nothing true about any of those statements.
And what other issues do you see
In
that
the
you would like to address?
You know, there's many, but I just want to talk about something that I was involved in for a long time in the past 2 years, and that was the Harbor Island Master Plan. And what we did, it was a committee of 8 or 9 people, and it was a great representative slice of the village. There were people from every walk of life, from every part of the village, and we went out into the community and we elicited opinions of different groups, the sports groups, the senior citizens, the boaters, and we took this information and we brought it to Allie King, Rosen, and Fleming was the planner who the village hired. In 2001, the Democrats got a grant to hire a planner for Harbor Island Park, and Allie King Rosen took this information and they formed a plan. We took that plan back to the public, revised it a couple of times, and there is in the works now a plan that will ensure the future and beauty of Harbor Island Park if it's enacted by a Board of Trustees, which it hasn't been yet. It was introduced in April to the Board of Trustees, and it's kind of languished. One of the things I hope to do is make sure that's enacted. And what I'd like to see happen is over time, and when the village has the resources and the money, to implement that plan. But in the meantime, before we implement that plan, we should use that plan as kind of a zoning plan for the park. Because what's happened over the years is development has happened haphazardly. Things have happened and they've put different pieces of equipment and stuff in the park without any relation to each other. So the park kind of has a hodgepodge feel to it. And I mean, it's a beautiful park and we all depend upon it. We just want it to be the best it can be.
Well, you seem to be very involved with that plan. And so do you feel that this will improve the quality of life for the residents in the area?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. You know, Harbor Island Park is the only community park in Mamaroneck. There are different neighborhood parks. It is a park where all of our sporting events take place, Little League, soccer, there's Pee Wee football now. There are so many demands upon the park for field space. And one of the things that I was very happy that we did was we were able to find another field in Harbor Island Park. Because the problem now is that we have to turn organizations away. People come to us and say, you know, I'm starting a league and I'd like to help these kids. And we look and there's very little space we can give people. And that's a problem that's throughout Westchester.
Right, everyone loves to come to Mamaroneck. Well, thank you for coming in, and I guess November 2nd, you'll
November
be busy.
2nd, yes I will. Thank you
Okay,
very much, it was a
thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Well, welcome, Tony. We were just talking earlier, and getting reacquainted. I interviewed you the first time in 1999, you remember?
1999, the first time I ran for office.
Wow.
I was running for trustee at that time.
Well, tell us about yourself. I know you're married with 2 children.
Yeah, I grew up right here in Mamaroneck. I graduated Ronick High School. I live now up in Harbor Heights with my wife, Fern, and my 2 children, Tony and Nicole. Tony attends the Homics. Nicole's still at Mamaroneck Avenue School. And I have my my law practice locally here in Mamaroneck, so I'm about as Mamaroneck as you can get.
Absolutely. So tell us what you've been doing the past couple of years.
Well, it's definitely been a busy 2 years. I knew going in, if I were elected 2 years ago, that would be a lot of work, and it has turned out to be a lot of work, but it's also been very challenging, very exciting. I've tackled, my specialty has been zoning issues. We've tackled a lot of issues on our board, the environment, taxes, quality of life issues, but tried to make it my point to try to focus on our zoning code, to make fine refinements to it that will keep the village headed in the right direction as far as our master plan.
Now you're the liaison to the planning board also.
I'm liaison to the planning board, and it's what I think has been very important in the last 2 years is that there's been a lot more communication between the planning board and the board of trustees, which it ends up in a lot of projects which are better planned, which ultimately create a better Mamaroneck and a healthier environment.
And you're also a member on the Board of Cable Control.
Board of Cable Control. That was a little bit of a surprise, because when I jumped into it, I didn't realize that the cable board contract was coming up in our time frame to renegotiate it. So we've actually...
Now what does that entail? I wondered. I've heard about other people being on the board, but I have no idea.
It's actually quite a challenge. The last contract, I think, was for 10 years, and we're in the process of obviously trying to do the best, not only for Mamaroneck and the residents, but for LMC-TV, because LMC's funding, a lot of LMC's funding comes directly from the Cablevision.
And we need that. Absolutely need that.
That's the only way that people get the news. And you guys do a great job.
That's true. Well, thank you. Now, tell us why people should vote for you.
Well, I think I bring a unique perspective to the Board of Trustees. My background, both as an attorney and on the Coastal Zone Commission, the Zoning Board of Appeals for almost 5 years, where I served as chairman, really gave me a very good background in land use issues. And in a village like Mamaroneck, where land, at least vacant land, is very scarce, there isn't much room for any real new development except to redevelop what we have already. And that's also always a very big concern for people, because you're usually, whatever you're doing, you're either developing or building right next to someone's backyard. And I think my experience on past boards and as an attorney has allowed me to pay close attention to these small changes that are made, and basically resulting in as little negative impact on the community as possible. I mean, some examples we had a C1 moratorium where we reduced allowable heights of buildings. We reduced the density that's allowed. We reduced the size of allowable gas station convenience stores.
That's good.
It's just, you want to keep impact on neighborhoods down.
Keep community happy.
You want to protect,
Happening and happy.
You want to protect the residents.
Right. Now, tell me what you are most proudest of.
Well, aside from what I'm able to do on the zoning, I think what I'm most proud of really is what we've been able to accomplish with taxes. This year's tax increase was 5.8% or somewhere in that neighborhood, one of the lowest in the county. And I'm very proud of that because, number one, it makes it a lot easier for young people who live in Mamaroneck.
Right, stay here.
Our older residents. And from wherever you might be, wherever in the village you live, it's expensive as it is to live here. Let's try to keep it as affordable as possible.
Sounds like a good plan to me.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Tony. A pleasure.
That was a pleasure, all mine.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Hello, Elsa Preto Ruben. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
And what does November 2nd mean to you?
Well, it means victory. Victory that is coming ahead.
Victory in what?
In the elections. I think we have a very good chance of winning this election because people want to see a change.
And what experience do you bring to this new position?
Well, I am a financial analyst and I have worked for different corporations, Fortune 500 corporations and Fortune 100 corporations. I had been a manager for a department of 15 people, 15 accountants and analysts, and I know that the same principles that can be applied in the business world can be applied to the local government.
And what about at home? Do you apply those same skills at home?
Definitely, definitely. I have to keep the kids
yeah,
in
you have
line.
children.
I have a daughter, and I have a niece who lives with me now, and I have to keep them on track.
And what are the issues that you see that you would like to look at in the village?
Well, the issues that I see, that I saw before, I found out are very different. They're very different from the issues that the people see. Because you see, I've been walking from door to door, and I've been talking to people and asking them. Instead of me talking, I've been asking them, what is the problem that you see here? What would you like to see resolved?
And what do they answer you?
Well, they answer they don't want overdevelopment in this village. They want to have a plan. They want to have, when we build something or when we give permits to build something, they want us to do it with vision, thinking in the long run, not 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, but in the future so that we can inherit a good future to our children, the future generations.
Well, does that also include housing?
Definitely housing. I am a very strong supporter of affordable housing. I believe that the people who work in this village should be allowed to live here, like the nurses, the teachers, policemen, firemen, and everybody who works here should be able to live here and not having to commute.
Well, how would you be able to help that?
Well, I will support the non-for-profit organizations that get grants, federal grants and state grants, and support them and fix units that are already being used but need to be repaired or need to be more made more livable.
To renovate the areas that are already here.
Yes, and maybe to build small-scale housing for the people who already work here and live here.
And what else would you do to help Mamaroneck Village?
I want to listen to everybody who has been talking to me. I want to listen to that guy in Right Neck who said that traffic light on Boston Post Road in North Barry, it's a hassle. It has to be reset. I want to listen to the small things and the big things. I want to listen to the lady whom I met in Washingtonville, who said, you know, the odor that comes from that plant over here is terrible, and we need something to be done about it. I want to listen to everyone. I want to listen to the people in Shore Acres who don't want a big development there. They deserve to be listened to, everyone in this village, and that's why we are elected. We are elected not to bring our own agenda, but to listen to the people who elected us, and that's our role.
Right. Any other issue that you find that you really would like to look at?
Well, as a financial analyst, I think that we have to be financially responsible to the taxpayers. We have to watch every penny in the budget. And how do you do it? By decreasing expenditures and by increasing revenues. And revenues not only have to come from property taxes, can become from other things, from other avenues. But what we have to do is keep an eye on them and keep an eye on these big expenditures like the police hearing expenditures that we have.
Your personnel is always very expensive. Well, you sound as if you have lots of ideas for Mamaroneck Village. Thank you for coming in, Elsa.
Thank you very
so
much.
November 2nd.
Yes.
Well, welcome, Joe. You're running for re-election for the village trustee.
Yes, I am.
And we were here a couple years ago, so now we can get reacquainted.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, my political background or my background in general?
Your background in general. I know you're married with 2 children.
My wife, Rosemary, our 2 beautiful children, Christina and Joey Jr. I have a local business in Larchmont. Graduated Mamaroneck High School, been in Mamaroneck my whole life, and there's no place I'd rather be than right here in the village of Mamaroneck.
In fact, I read a quote that you said, "I don't much like politics. I just like Mamaroneck."
That's about it. Yeah,
that was unusual for a politician running for re-election. But but you love Mamaroneck.
Yeah, no, the political part of it, this part of it, the campaigning and the back and forth with the candidates and the opponents, it's I guess a necessary evil. But after it's all said and done, all I'm really interested in is making the place where I'm raising my children a better place.
Well, that's good, and you're in the right position to do that.
Well, I think we've made Mamaroneck substantially better in our 2 years here. It's
how so?
Well, you know what? When you're for here and from here, you know what's wrong and you know what to do to fix it. So rather than forming committees or doing studies or doing any of this other stuff, you know what's wrong? Just fix it. So we have a dangerous situation with the overcrowding, and we spent a year of our time putting together the right task force and the right law, and now we have successfully begun to deal with overcrowding. Politicians have been saying they want to deal with it for years, and they've never really had the courage to deal with it. We listen to people when they talk to us. Our police officers said, well, we have this fine for open containers that's either $25 or community service, and quite honestly, it just doesn't get their attention because we're arresting guys regularly. So we changed that from $25 to $125 for the first time, $250 for the second time, and mandatory Westchester County Jail thereafter. That resulted in a 58% decrease in open container violations.
Wow, that's a big decrease.
We had people who live next to restaurants, and we love our restaurants in Mamaroneck, and next to businesses, and we love our businesses, but we don't love the garbage they generate. So people who live next door to them had to look inside their garbage dumpsters. We made it mandatory for all commercial businesses to enclose their garbage dumpsters.
So they don't have to look at that.
So they don't have to look at it, and it has a ripple effect because now that garbage also doesn't blow down the street, it doesn't end up in our waterways, it doesn't pick up bacteria and end up further polluting our harbor. So, a lot of people get elected and they get into office and like I said, they do these studies and then they're out of office and they never see the results of their work. Myself and my running mates have actually started and finished things because we didn't waste the time with the studies. We weren't afraid to just, go in. We got the information we needed, 6 months, a year, whatever it was, and then we passed the law. And by doing it, we made Mamaroneck better. So after a year and 10 months, we've actually started and finished things, and we've made Mamaroneck much better by doing it.
Well, why do you think people should vote for you?
Because of everything I just said.
I was going to say because of everything you just said. Because you started it and you finished it, and do you plan to continue on that path?
There's a number of things that I'd like to do, but I think the most important thing any elected official can do, I was told by a wise man many years ago that you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, which means you should listen twice as much as you talk. So going around the community, a lot of the ideas we had from residents or police officers or DPW employees. So we listened and we acted on it.
Now, what would you say out of all the things that you did in the past 2 years that you're most proudest of?
You know what, it's going to be a silly little thing. It's like the guy that was the hero in the war, but the thing he was most proud of was saving the puppy. I'm most proud of our DARE car. We have this...
It's new, isn't it?
Well, it's a used car.
It's a used car. It was revamped. And
what I did is I took it and I went to our merchants in the community. They donated their materials, their services, everything about it. But prior to that, I would go by our schools and I'd see a police car as a parent, and I'd say, well, gee, I hope there's nothing wrong here. And now, you know, when people come by our schools and they see a car that it's a DARE car and they know nothing's wrong, they know something's absolutely right. And so whether I get reelected or not, I know that for the rest of my time here, there'll be a DARE car and it'll be something I can physically see. I won't be able to physically see the overcrowding law. I won't be able to physically see the dumpster. I will be able to physically see the DARE car, and I'll know that our children in Rhinebeck and Mamaroneck have really a good head start. And that is the thing I'm most proud of.
Well, thank you for coming in, and good luck.
It is my pleasure, and thank you.
Hi, guys. Zarega. How
Good
are
evening.
you?
I'm well. How are you?
Again, what does November 2nd mean to you?
November 2nd will be an opportunity for the residents of the village of Mamaroneck to elect a board that will serve their needs better than the present board.
And how will you do that?
Well, one of the things I'll do is make the process of communication between the board and the village much more complete. I think the current board is very adept at presenting good news, but they don't always tell the whole story, or as some radio commentators say, the rest of the story. And the rest of the story, in this case, in these times, has to do with some mismanaged situations in the village, and most prominent of which is the situation with the police department. And at least the board could have been forthright in explaining to the citizenry in very precise terms what the cost of this is, what the bill is. I think you go down to Times Square and there's a digital device that tells you what the national debt is, and we could have been apprised of the growing cost of all of this. But they chose not to talk about that or to back into it at best. While I'm talking about this, I'd like to follow up on something that happened at Tuesday night's debate, which has made me rather indignant.
That was under the auspices of the League of Women Voters.
League of Women Voters, to whom I am perpetually grateful because they do such a good job in helping local elections.
What is the issue that?
Well, during the debate, Joe Angeletta claimed that one of the police officers who's suing the village is my brother-in-law. I don't know what his intention for mentioning that was, but first of all, it's not true. I have no brother-in-law who's a police officer who's suing the village. And after the debate, I walked over to him and I said, I have no brother. And he said, I know that, but that's just part of our strategy. And I was wondering, what else is a part of their strategy? What other mangling or misrepresentation is part of their strategy? And I didn't have to wait long because another example came up during the debate. When I was on the board, Glenna, we watched the streetscape project completed. And one of the fine points of that project was the placement of beautiful granite curbs all up and down the avenue.
Mamaroneck Avenue.
Correct.
Yes.
And just recently, parking lines, diagonal parking lines, have been placed on the road, but whoever put those lines down also painted right up over these beautiful curbs. Mr. Angeletta would ask the people in Mamaroneck to believe that it was under our board that those lines were painted on the curbs. It's ridiculous. I don't know why he would say that. But I intend to try to heal some of the wounds in the police department. I've been a coach and a teacher. As a coach, you know you have to bring the team together. If it isn't team spirit, if it isn't cohesion, the team's not going to play very well. And right now, our police department team is split. Somebody has to come in there and bring the team together, recognize that it's only going to function if there's mutual respect among the officers. And so far, all we've gotten is division, litigation, and it's an embarrassment and a shame.
Well, that sounds like a big order.
It is.
That you have in front of you.
Yeah.
But on November 2nd, people should come out and...
They should vote for Tom Murphy, Elsa Puerto Rubin, and Guy Zarega like they did in 2000 when I was first elected to the board.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Guy.
Thank you very much.
And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
If you want to see this new show again, you can. It's on every weekday night at 7 p.m. We record one show each week and it's replayed on this channel, LMC-TV, channel 75.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can call LMC-TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the new show. They will try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you to watch.
And this reminder, this news program is an all-volunteer effort, and we could use a few more volunteers, either behind the scenes or as a reporter, or maybe you'd like to shoot video. Whatever the case, we need you.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put on this program, we have something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC-TV studios and see how we do what we do.
The LMC-TV studios are in the Mamaroneck High School, the Palmer Avenue side, just up the stairs across from the landmark Walter's hot dog stand. We get things started around 7 p.m. and we would love to see you.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions or some video of an event that you would like us to put on this new show, bring it to the studio or write to us at Larchmont, Mamaroneck Community News in care of LMC-TV, 1 Library Lane, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543.
Thanks again for watching Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Christina Bolger.
I'm Glenna Gray. Vote.
Don't forget to vote.
November 2nd.
Budget time is here.
Police and firefighters on the wrong side of the law.
Up, up, up go prices for oil and rail.
News about local heroes.
And to be or not to be at a great event. Those stories and more right here on this edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
Hello and welcome to Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Sven Oehme.
And I'm Maura Carlin. Our top story. The first draft is out and we're not talking sports or war. It's the 2005 preliminary Town of Mamaroneck budget. The tentative budget calls for a tax increase of 7.3%, which you'll be glad to hear is lower than the 9.3% jump called for in this year's tentative budget and still less than the 8.5% rise adopted in December 2003. The town staff estimates for 2005 operating costs was $25.4 million, an increase of $1.3 million over the budget adopted last year, which translates into a 5.8% rise. Town Administrator Steve Altieri cites 2 reasons for the increase: pension contributions and additional fuel costs that affect the costs of goods and services. In addition, almost 1% of the proposed tax increase stems from the reduction in tax assessments. The town's fiscal year ends in December, and the town board plans to adopt a budget on or about December 15th. Until then, there are scheduled public sessions where residents may participate. The first coming up is November 5th at 9 a.m. all day in the Weaver Street Firehouse, November 10th at 1 p.m. in the Conference Room A at the Town Center, November 16th at 9 o'clock in the morning, also in Conference Room A at the Town Center, and December 1st at 8:15 in the evening at a public hearing where the proposed budget will be presented.
The average price for heating oil is on its way up in Westchester County, and the price of a gallon reached a record high of $1.09 0.951 cents, according to a government survey. The survey that was conducted by the Westchester Department of Consumer Protection is posted on the website of the county at www.westchestergov.com/consumer. There is a good chance that the average price is even higher, as 20 of the larger heating oil companies in the county are not part of the survey. They don't supply the Department of Consumer Protection with their prices. One representative of those larger companies, David Singer, president of Elmsford-based Robson Oil, told the Journal News most of the full-service carriers in the county do not submit their prices to the county because the survey doesn't qualify the vendors in terms of the services they offer and their hours of operation, end of quote. According to Singer, larger full-service companies usually charge between 10 to 30 cents more for a gallon of heating oil. The additional services that these companies provide are caused by additional expenses. One of those expenses is high insurance costs. Some of the companies also provide oil burner installation, and the employees who do this service must be members of the Teamsters union. This means that they have to be paid according to the contracts that exist with the unions. On the other hand, Jim Cohen, who is president of Total Fuel Services based in New Rochelle and who offers one of the lowest prices for a gallon of heating oil in the current survey of the county, told the Journal News that his company has union employees, offers a 24-hour service, and is also a licensed plumbing and air conditioning company. However, many of the smaller companies do not offer all of those services and can therefore offer a cheaper price for a gallon of heating oil. Elaine Price, the director of the county's Department of Consumer Protection and former Mamaroneck town supervisor, told the Journal News, quote, "We're not trying to make the consumer's decision for them. What we're trying to do is to give the consumer all the resources that we have to make an informed decision that fits the needs of their family and their income," end of quote.
And commuters may also have to dig deeper. The Metropolitan Transit Authority, or MTA, recently proposed increases of 12% for Metro North riders and a 20% increase for monthly MetroCard for riders who also use the subway. And don't expect service to improve. The new plan could leave stations dirtier, as it calls for less frequent cleaning of Metro North stations, as well as reductions in off-peak service on commuter trains. You may recall that fares went up an average of 25% only a year and a half ago. The MTA board may approve the proposal this December, with the changes taking effect in January or March. We'll keep you posted.
September was a good month for the unemployed in Westchester County. During the month, the unemployment rate fell to 3.9% compared to September of 2003. This is the lowest rate for September since the year 2000. Jobs in Westchester were up by 3,100 compared to September of the previous year. The job growth came from retail trade, ambulatory health care services, and the opening of a number of stores in the county. One such example is the City Center shopping complex in White Plains. As a comparison, the unemployment rate for New York City was 6.9% for September, which was down from 8.4% during the same period a year earlier. And for the state, the unemployment rate for September of 2004 was 5.4%, which is almost 1 percentage point lower than the rate recorded for September 2003.
A Village of Mamaroneck firefighter was injured on October 20th while tending to 2 fires at a vacant building at 1258 East Boston Post Road. He needed stitches for a cut above his eye. Chief John Paul stated that 75 volunteers arrived at the scene and that the 2 fires were under control in 15 minutes. The injured firefighter was able to return to duty later that afternoon. Flames from an outside rubbish fire and another one in the basement of a former restaurant were first spotted just after midnight. Both fires are under investigation.
2 local current and former police officers were arrested along with 2 other men on Wednesday, October 20th, on charges of possession of stolen property and drug sales. One of the men, Officer Frank Della Camera, is a current Town of Mamaroneck police officer, and Dominic Forti was a former Village of Mamaroneck officer who resigned after being arrested a decade ago. Both men are accused of selling cocaine in front of the Crown Plaza Hotel in White Plains on several occasions during the summer, according to a statement from the Office of Westchester County District Attorney Janine Pirro. Two other Yonkers men were accused of collaborating with the camera in purchasing stolen electronic equipment, according to the statement. The investigation regarding the arrests is ongoing, with additional arrests expected. State police and the town of Mamaroneck police are assisting in the case. Forty has had numerous confrontations with the police. He was arrested in 1992 after being accused of being one of several men who pushed into a New Rochelle bar. He was also charged with third-degree burglary. In 1994, he was charged with pointing a gun at a Taco Bell drive-thru microphone in Greenwich after hours. He resigned from the Village of Mamaroneck police force before any disciplinary actions could be filed for the incident. In 1999, he was arrested again for selling cocaine near a Palmer Avenue bar in Larchmont.
Talk about being in the right place at the right time, and lucky for two men. On October 15th, Greenburgh police officer John Roberts was boating in Mamaroneck Harbor when he saw a car flying into the water. Roberts hightailed it over to the sinking Honda, kicked in the back window, and helped Michael Fiddelman and Anthony Villa to safety. The two men had been enjoying Harbor Island Park and decided to head to a local pizzeria. Fiddelman says his gas pedal stuck and the car went out of control across the parking lot to the harbor's east basin, over the seawall, and into the harbor water. Once in the water, the car's electrical doors and locks and windows wouldn't open, and that's where Roberts came in, saving the two men, who are okay.
A Village of Mamaroneck volunteer firefighter recently agreed to resign from his job as an EMT for the New York City Fire Department after pleading guilty to stealing money from an undercover officer posing as an accident victim. Joseph Alamina was indicated in 6 counts, including first-degree falsifying business records, petty larceny, official misconduct, and criminal possession of a weapon and stolen property. He pleaded guilty to lesser charges of larceny and possession of stolen property in exchange for conditional discharge and his resignation, according to a spokesperson for the Office of the Bronx District Attorney. Alamina was arrested in June 2003 after several patients complained that they were missing either money or property while under his care. A sting operation involving a livery cab accident was set up. Undercover police posing as a cab driver and accident victim signaled Alamina on June 24, 2003 on Pelham Parkway, while the undercover officer posing as a patient was in the back of the ambulance. He allowed $600 in marked bills to fall from his pocket. After Alamina's shift was over, he was stopped by investigators who had found the stolen cash in a console in Alamina's car, along with a gravity knife in his pocket. Just an amazing story.
It is. Forensic improvements are coming to Westchester. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna Gray has the evidence.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation has declared the Westchester Forensic Lab in need of improvement. The FBI may refuse to accept analyses of its evidence samples. Commissioner Millard Highland of the Westchester County Department of Labs and Research said tests are not being conducted in the correct environment. The loss of the FBI affiliation would eliminate the county from a nationwide database that uses DNA to track criminals. A spokesperson for the FBI felt that the risk of being cut out of the database may be overstated. The County Board of Legislators voted to expand the labs by 22,000 square feet. The lab serves the county police and 39 local police departments. Last year, the EPA fined the lab $11,500 for allegedly mismanaging hazardous waste.
And the cleanup of Mamaroneck Harbor continues. Here with more is Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Christina Bolger.
Good news for Mamaroneck Village. This week, a trash trap will be installed on the Mamaroneck River. This device has a trash collection basket attached to it and is designed to catch and remove floating pollution and prevent garbage collected from the river before it reaches the harbor and from washing up on local beaches. The Harbor Island Conservancy President, Fred Longrace, told the Larchmont Times, quote, The whole point here is to make the harbor more beautiful, end quote. An independent nonprofit group of village residents who are public advocates donated $25,000 toward the cost of the $35,000 floatable device. In addition, village officials will be paying private contractors more than $10,000 to install the V-shaped 100-foot-long device. The boom will be maintained by the Public Works Department and the village harbor master for years to come. In case you are wondering, the assistant village manager, Robert Nemuter, assures them that the boom will protect the water's surface from oil spills and debris. Also, no harm will come to the river's aquatic life. Reporting for Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Christina Bolger.
Village of Larchmont firefighters got some new safety equipment. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Brad Martz has the details.
Recently, Larchmont Fire Department became one of only 2 Westchester County fire departments to receive state funding from the Emergency Services Grant Program. This program was created in 2002 to assist New York State's smaller fire departments in the purchasing of protective firefighting equipment. In a statement, Governor Pataki said, "Each day, firefighters place their own lives at risk to help others, and they should have the best available protective equipment to ensure their own safety as well. This funding is truly a life-saving investment that will provide many smaller departments with essential resources and support so they can purchase the personal protective equipment they need." To date, the Emergency Services Grant Program has awarded $6 million to fire companies across the state. Larchmont Fire Department received its most recent grant from Phase 2 of the program. On October 7th, Governor Pataki announced that this second phase would consist of $2.9 million worth of grants available to local fire departments statewide. After an application process was completed, the $20,000 grant awarded to Larchmont Fire Department was the highest local grant that could be received from the program. Preference was given to applicants with operating budgets under $100,000 or, like Larchmont's department, those that are mainly comprised of volunteers. Chris McDonald, chief of the Larchmont Fire Department, says that the $20,000 will be used for new air tanks for the firefighters. These tanks will feature an alarm system that activates once they are removed from the truck. If the firefighter is inside the building and is motionless for more than 5 minutes, an alarm will go off, alerting others that the firefighter could be in trouble. These innovative safety measures are rarely available to small local fire departments. So thanks to the Emergency Services Grant Program, more communities like ours will be better able to protect those who work to protect us. Reporting for Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Brad Martz.
Remember the crackdown on overcrowding in Mamaroneck Village after the big fire? Here with an update is Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Christina Bolger.
Overcrowded apartments, safety violations, and local landlords are very much in Mamaroneck Village news these days. Recent stories in the Journal News detailed 3 cases of landlords slapped with violations and heavy fines for permitting too many people to occupy their buildings, which in some cases the village says were renovated illegally. Candidates for village trustees are also talking about the issue, raising concerns about the mostly Hispanic people forced to relocate, sometimes within 24 hours. In September, a mother and daughter were forced to quickly move out of what village inspectors called an illegal studio apartment and a fire hazard. That same month, the owner of a 3-family house was told that she could no longer rent out space until code violations were cured. 2 tenants lost their housing, and the homeowner claims it'll cost upwards of $30,000 to make the required renovations. And a West Harrison man faces thousands of dollars in fines. Village inspectors found 30 people living in 5 makeshift apartments inside a house he owns on Howard Avenue. His lawyer tells the village that the people have since moved out and all violations fixed. The village is going to re-inspect that property. The overcrowding became a major issue in August 2003 when 2 village firefighters were injured battling a fire in an apartment building over Mamaroneck Avenue restaurant. Firemen reported finding 18 mattresses in the rooms. The village then assembled a task force and began to aggressively pursue reports of overcrowding through its police, fire, and building departments. Mayor Trifoletti has repeatedly explained the code enforcement and big fines as an issue of safety and quality of life, not a money-making program for the village, as some have complained. Says Trifoletti, quote, "We're doing them and the landlords a favor. We're probably saving their lives. There are people cleaning up their act now," end quote. Since the beginning of the year, 139 properties have been inspected, and the village wants to expand its building department and hire a bilingual code enforcer who can better communicate with Hispanic tenants and landlords. Reporting for Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Christina Bolger.
With news from the Real Estate Corner is Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna Gray.
Do you know what HUD means? FHA or Fannie Mae? Well, HUD stands for Housing Urban Development. It is a federal program that ensures mortgage loans, establish construction standards of people who borrow their money. They also seek to protect the civil rights of everyone. And there are many other functions within the HUD program. The FHA, the Fair Housing Act, ensures mortgage loans by approved lending institutions. Then the FNMA, Federal National Mortgage Association, is a privately owned corporation that raises funds to purchase loans by selling government-guaranteed FNMA bonds. They are the largest purchaser of mortgages. For more information, stay tuned to the Real Estate Corner. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Glenna Gray.
A site for day laborers is still an issue in Mamaroneck. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Christina Bolger has more.
Unfortunately for Mamaroneck Village, the good news of immigrants being hired as day laborers spread like wildfire. Mamaroneck isn't the only municipality that has struggled to deal with the issue of migrant workers in the community. However, Mayor Trifoletti agrees that the village can't take responsibility for people from outside Mamaroneck, who comprise 90 to 95% of the workers. Trifoletti feels that other communities need to pitch in and bear the burden. 100 to 200 men have been gathering at Columbus Park, the traditional hiring site in Mamaroneck, creating a reputation in the area that the village offers good employment for migrant workers. Trifoletti told the Times, "There are people from Fordham, White Plains, New Rochelle, the Bronx, and Portchester coming here by bus or train." In addition, he said, "We can't handle 200 people, and we don't have the resources." Quote, "We want to make sure village resident laborers are getting jobs." End quote. The encouraging news is that in late August, the village posted police at the park and began ticketing contractors for traffic violations, including double and triple parking, while picking up workers and running stop signs. The village has also acted in response to complaints from residents, including concerns about public drinking, blocking sidewalks, littering, smoking marijuana, and sleeping overnight in the park. There is a well-organized anti-immigrant group in the Washingtonville area that has been making such complaints for several years. They have put pressure on the mayor and the trustees to take action against the Hispanic community. The police issued an estimated 104 summonses. One man was arrested for smoking marijuana. This enforcement has frightened off the contractors. The number of immigrant workers has dropped to 30, down from 200. Reporting for Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Christina Bolger.
Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Okay, Halloween may be over, but Shakespeare's words are eternal and kept alive locally by Dee O'Brien. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Brad Martz tells of plans to honor her.
LMC-TV will honor teacher and drama producer Dee O'Brien at the annual Sunny Awards ceremony on Sunday, November 14th at the Whitby Castle in Rye. Everyone is invited to the event, celebrating the veteran teacher's many years of community service. Besides being a famous English teacher at Hommocks Middle School, Dee O'Brien is famously known as the founder of the Semi-Royal Shakespeare Company. For 30 years, she's been introducing teenagers to William Shakespeare by having them perform his plays, to the delight of these young thespians, as well as the entire community. And since 1985, these annual shows have been televised by LMC-TV, making them the longest-running series on our community TV channels. It's been reported that the company is unique in the country, too. Dee O'Brien is certainly one of a kind, but she's quick to credit her students, parent volunteers, and the Emlyn Theater for the continued success of the program. On November 14th, she'll receive the Sonny Award, named to honor Sonny Goldberg, one of LMC-TV's founders and a tireless community volunteer. O'Brien will join a distinguished group of previous winners, some of whom are sure to be present when she accepts the award. LMC-TV hopes you're there too. Tickets cost $75 for adults, $40 for students. For more information, call LMC-TV board member Janet Baer at 833-3695 or call LMC-TV office at 381-2002 extension 201. Reporting for Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Brad Martz.
Sad news of the loss of a local hero. The story from Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna Gray.
Harold W. LaRocco, a former fire department chief of the village of Mamaroneck, has expired after a battle with brain cancer. Chief LaRocco gave endless hours to his own family and to the fire departments of Port Chester and Mamaroneck. Mr. LaRocco worked for IBM and volunteered his time to his fellow residents. He became chief in 1975 after 10 years of service. Mr. LaRocco was instrumental in founding the Mamaroneck Rescue Squad. Mr. LaRocco served the Port Chester community between 1982 and 1987. Farewell, Chief. You will not be forgotten. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Glenna Gray.
And we offer our condolences to the Fire Chief LaRocco's family. And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
If you want to see this news show again, you can. It's on every weekday night at 7 p.m. We start recording one show each week, and it's replayed on this channel, LMC-TV, channel 75.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can. Call LMC-TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the news show. They'll try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you to watch.
And this reminder, this news program is an all-volunteer effort, and we could use a few more volunteers either behind the scenes or as a reporter. Or maybe you'd like to shoot video. And whatever the case, we need you.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put this program on, we have something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC-TV studios and see how we do what we do.
The LMC-TV studios are on the Mamaroneck High School, the Palmer Avenue side, just up the stairs across from the landmark Walter's hot dog stand. We get things started around 7 p.m., and we would love to see you.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions or some video of an event that you'd like us to put on this news show, bring it to the studio or write to us at Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News in care of LMC-TV, 1 Library Lane, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543.
Thanks again for watching Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Sven.
And I'm Maura Carlin. See you next time.